From Washington, D.C., this is the Beyond the Dumbbells Show, your source of information and inspiration for living an audacious life. Hear interviews and social banter with special guests on Fitspiration and news from around the globe. Here are your hosts, fitness and lifestyle experts, Brian and Jenny Sweeney.
Hello.
You kind of always start out with the same thing, too. Your intro. Intro's important, and we don't really have one. So, ear porn. I guess I'd just say, hey, welcome to fitness ear porn. Maybe not. It's not the kind of porn I'd want. That didn't sound right either.
Oh my gosh. If this is any indication, we should
should stop now.
Exactly. Just put us on mute and call it a day.
Well, and we're tapped out. So it's just the mental fatigue is legit. And it's just, we've been doing a lot. We got a lot working behind the scenes, and we want to make sure we keep in touch with you guys. So they're fun. But a lot of times we want to make sure we touch in more than we have something ready.
Well, with us, we're so ready all the time with like our job that if we don't really have to prepare for something, we're like, nah.
I'm 2 steps away from a nap. Okay, so the one topic that's been on my mind the last few days, and we were gonna try to get something out yesterday on this, but I've been kind of put it in your ear, and it's the idea that how you actually achieve the body and the look and the image that you want. And it doesn't matter what brand you look at, it doesn't matter what program you do, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. There's a major key ingredient that's missing from all of them, and it's the only piece that a program or a company cannot provide. And that is the person that does it has to do the work.
Exactly.
And it's not that the programs aren't good. There's so many great programs out there, but they have to touch the emotional side of the person to get them to break patterns. And we had somebody recently, I'm going to change the names in the conversation a little bit so that it doesn't.
We should just always use
Harriet. We'll say it's Harriet.
Harriet.
I don't know a Harriet, so that one's good.
That's good.
All right, so Harriet comes in, and Harriet's been struggling to lose weight. And Harriet is on our new program. So Shapeshift we're going to be able to talk about that a little bit more as we go, but we're in beta launch to our kind of flagship nutrition program.
Right.
And Harriet is in the beginning weeks of this program. And she, because it could be a he today, comes in and says, hey, I've lost 15 pounds. That's fantastic. In like 10 days.
Right.
It's like, I've lost 15 pounds. It wasn't like that. It was really like 12.
Exactly.
And I was like, well, that's fantastic. Yeah, but the meal plan's really boring. I don't like it. Well, how about that weight loss, though? You've been struggling for how long?
Forever.
A long time. A really long time. I've been plateaued. It's just, I thought it was never going to come off. Wow, so you're really happy. I'm really not. I'm bored to death with my food. And it's at that moment, and you and I are different even in the way we train and the way we eat. And people have said to you, hey, what's it like, having to live with Brian? Is it terrible, And I grew up a fat kid.
Right.
I was fat in my adult age, and I hit that painful moment where I was like, I'm not going back. The funny thing about most of our clients that we get to that end goal, they don't have enough pain that they're like, and they roll right back into their previous self.
Can I interject a thought?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that instead of that you don't have enough pain, I think you forgot just how miserable you felt.
Okay, so I'll share my miserable moment. And I think it was on my backstory. I used to have to commute a lot, and I was in school full time, and the job I was in at the time, I was always in the car. And there was a point where it's hot out, air conditioning costs money, so I didn't turn the air on. It was all the windows down. And there was that point where I was so uncomfortable in the way I was sitting because my jeans were cutting into my gut.
Yeah.
Okay, that it got to where I had to drive around with my pants unbuttoned. And I remember sitting there, and this was in my 20s. So again, history of...
Like last week.
Yeah, right. So recently. But a history of weight, momentarily lost with where I wanted to be physique wise. Keep in mind, I still worked out all the time.
Right.
I never took off from the gym, but I didn't eat right, and I didn't follow through, and I didn't do all my right stuff. And I had that moment in the car where I was sweating. My clothes didn't fit anymore. I had an actual ridge line in my gut, and I was like, I will never do this again.
Right.
And at that time, I stopped, and it was 12 years before I put any weight back on, and then that was stress-driven. But even that was a short duration.
Oh, yeah.
So when you say maybe they haven't felt pain, you ever been in a moment where you can, if you smell something, you go back to those moments because there's such a profound transition in your life.
Right.
Dude, like it takes me back. And some of those times they're not always good.
But I think it's like your example is awesome because you probably think about it a lot.
It haunts me today.
For some, if they're on their first journey or second or even third, they're forgetting when you take even 3 pounds off of your frame and you start to lose like a pooch or back fat or bra fat if you're female or
guys can have back fat.
I think I said bra fat.
Guys can have bra
I guess
fat.
got, you know what? It's
the mood I'm in.
That's an excellent point. So men or women who wear bras.
That's right.
I'm saying that maybe not that there hasn't been enough pain or whatever. They forgot what it's like. See, now I'm on a bra kick to hook their bra and to feel that fat underneath it. So they're like, yeah, whatever. And then you start the backslide and it's like, oh my gosh,
It's
I
back.
reached a point where I forgot what this felt like in the misery of it. They just forget. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. But in my painful moment, it's permanently ingrained. I don't know if it was my age. I don't know if it was a combination of that thought in the heat.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if it was, my too tight Levi's, whatever the heck it was at the time.
You did wear Levi's.
But anytime I start drifting, I panic about going back to that time.
Yep.
It's like, I can't do this. And when we are talking to our clients, and there's never a time where I get just as frustrated as a client.
Of course.
When a client comes up and like, Coach, I'm really disappointed. I did X, Y, Z. I feel disappointed for them. It's
Of
like,
course.
I've been there. It's like, I totally get it. Just you start over today and you don't look back. So when we talk about Harriet and Harriet's kind of moment when they were drawn back out of that moment, they'd stayed there for a while. It was a long while. And Harriet probably still has 30 or 40 pounds to lose.
Easily.
So to drop off 12 to 15 very quickly just because of nutritional choices, I was like, our program's going to blow up. It is absolutely going to blow up. I can't wait until we cut this thing loose. But then the next thing out of their mouth was, I don't think I can do this food list.
Right.
And we're not talking about a grapefruit effing diet, which people do for weeks and weeks and weeks. This apple vinegar diet, apple.
Oh my gosh, you said apple vinegar.
Apple vinegar diet. I just made that up.
We should invent that.
Okay, so that's coming.
We'd be a millionaire overnight.
But they're willing to do that kind of crap. Starve themselves, eat and drink ridiculous things, and they're good with it. But you show them a path, and they're like, is this really what it's going to be like?
Yeah. You know what I think is really funny is when there are specific foods that are asked about. So like if for Shapeshift, you're eating off of a restricted plan, and then people ask about specific foods.
I call them panic foods.
Exactly. But there's no way if that's what your diet consisted of, you would be doing Shapeshift.
What are you thinking of? Yeah.
Well, I don't want to. Are we talking about like what's not on there?
Pick something rando.
Like eggs.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I will, like egg whites. As we got a ton of questions offline about. It's like, how am I going to survive without them? And it's like,
so cool thing. And just because you brought it up, eggs was one of the things that ended up. So women and females in digestion, gut distension. It's not fat. It's just you can tell that there's a protrusion in your belly. We think the cause was eggs for you.
Exactly.
And if you show someone the path and say you can get rid of all that distension
with eggs,
but their fight is, but I like eggs.
Exactly.
So this isn't meant to harp on Harriet. It's the idea of how do you maintain lean body mass throughout life? And when people say this is boring, when this food is boring, food from nature, single ingredient foods, compared to a Pringle,
right,
is boring. There's nothing exciting. There's no crunch Some things don't provide strawberries, don't crunch, so if you want a snack, people need that fix.
Right.
And here's what's funny, dude. Do y'all not realize you're addicted to food?
Right.
And that the food is created to create addiction.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's addiction.
How about what they add into food is what makes it addicting. Good job.
When you increase the intake of artificial sweeteners, nitrates,
mm-hmm.
you've got all these things in here for preservatives. They distort what your body craves,
mm-hmm.
especially sugar. When you get into a lot of artificial sweeteners, they tell your body, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And people are like, I'm hungry. Do you think it's natural? Do you think caveman human walked out craving a salty, crunchy chip? That wasn't a requirement. If it came out of your family tree. But
mine would have been noodles.
That's the Italian caveman. But the idea, if you can just sit there for a second and say, why am I craving this thing?
Mm-hmm.
And when you first lose the weight, you're still very vulnerable. So let's say that first 6 months from the time you drop all the weight, you've got the body, you're just elated with joy. I'm so happy.
Right.
For the next 6 months is the most susceptible you're ever going to be to going right back to weight.
Oh, you better believe it.
It's like early parole.
Yep.
But you went out and screwed up and got thrown back in jail.
Yep.
It doesn't take anything for your body to go, oh, I remember where we were. And if you want to go back, just go ahead and goof off for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take you back there in a shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have people that hit these pockets of I'm good or I'm bored or I've got it from here, this is why a lot of programs fail, because people
mm-hmm.
hit the goal and they walk away from it because they don't want to be bored anymore.
Exactly. One of the coolest things, and I think why I have been successful in what we're doing and why I felt totally comfortable with us rolling it out, is if you take out the complications and you start to think of food simply as fuel and food as, a means to an end to get you to where you want to be. Like for myself, it's like, get rid of that distension because you're miserably uncomfortable. It wasn't so much, I want to look good in my little black dress as it was, I'm in constant discomfort. And then from there, it's like, okay, well now we're back on a health track, especially me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do so good with my annual physical. But I want those numbers to look good. And if doing the boring is going to keep away distension and make me feel good, and I'm going to go to the doctor and get an A+, I will do, and I have done boring we're going to hit a year soon.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And the other thing that I constantly remember in my head is, people beating themselves up when they're like, I've lost 1/2 a pound. And I go back to my mom when she was helping me as a teen just kind of lose some weight. And she said to me, honey, every time you look at a box of butter, so it has 4 sticks, that's 1 pound. So, if you gain 20 pounds, do 20 times 4 and picture that in your head. But every time you lose 1, I want you to picture 4 sticks of butter and they're no longer in your body. And it was, as a teen, she wasn't getting into science with me or anything like that. It was just this awesome visual that it was like, what, I'm going to celebrate every pound that I lose.
Nice job, Mom.
It's a huge deal. Like, it's always been in my mind. So I think that we don't celebrate our victories enough along the way either. So with Harriet, 12 times 4 is what, 48?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have lost 48 sticks of butter.
They won't.
Like,
it's tough because
isn't that worth pouring?
It's absolutely. How about 365 days of that type of wins?
Exactly.
And
it's so cool.
Nobody loses. That's a fantastic example, and it's a great visual.
I love it.
People get complacent, and we had another client that came in. I'm trying to think of another name. They went to another franchised fitness place, and they had been there for over a year. And they said, I'm just plateauing and it's just not working.
Right.
And we helped this person. I think it was after Old Shred. So it was the 6 week.
Katerina.
And Katarina came in after 6 weeks in, was resistant to do it, saying, I already eat good. I already know what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, I just came from this other franchise where all we do is cardio. I'm solid. And then 6 weeks later, this person joined the gym because they'd lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks. And it was like, I cannot believe how good I feel. I cannot believe how good I look. So not only are they not at the gym anymore, they didn't keep it all off.
Right.
And what we try to do always is, it's not, hey, follow me because I'm going to hold the secret sauce and I'm not going to give you the recipe to this incredible idea. We actually open it up and say, let me show you step by step exactly why this does what it does, how you can do it, anytime you get in trouble, you can do it again.
Yep. And
it's difficult to help people look at it as a lifestyle instead of just a short-term thing, because we as a culture are built on diets.
Yes.
That they're short-term, that there's a start and a beginning, that at any one point, I got there's somebody else recently that there was a condition when they hit a rough patch. They're like, well, when I hit a rough patch, all bets are off. I eat whatever I want, I do whatever I want, and I'll just start pounding whatever in my face that I need to.
Right.
And it's like, but you've already made all this progress. So boring is your, what's the word?
I think it's boring is your path to just get to where you want to be and actually stay there.
Your consistency is built around your boring path.
Yeah.
And,
it was funny too. One of our clients was saying that she's like, you know what? I would just love to know, like, what do you and Brian really eat? What do you and Brian really eat? What is your day to day? Like, what is the real, what is it to like live as us? And I was like,
you're daydream all day about food.
Right. I was like, you will see if you are part of Shapeshift. That is us.
That's the program. That
is us. That's what we've done. It's, we had I think the last time we met, we were talking about our vacation where, I had a little, a little slip off.
Sure, we both did.
I realized that going back to boring is where I want to be. And I already know that the next time we head out on vacation, that I'm going to make some changes into what I did. Because to sit down and say, wow, I started to kind of not feel well again in less than a week. It isn't worth it. I'm glad I had this slip up to see, because it gave me how I
refocused you.
Right. But it also let me know what I am doing is worth it. The boring is worth it. The boring is absolutely worth it. And for myself, how I feel it's amazing. It's amazing.
Do the boring well.
Yes.
We've heard that from a number of people, but do the boring well and consistently, and you'll see the greatest progress over time.
Definitely.
If you try to race and run and sprint and stop and sprint and stop, you're just going to end up right back at the same place over and over and over again.
And I think the coolest thing that we've learned too in our journey together is once you are, quote unquote, where you want to be, and you go out and it's, a night out with friends or whatever it could be. And it's like, man, I'd really like to order some French fries or something. Mm-hmm. We get them, but we don't even eat them all. And it's like, for me, it's like I am where I want to be. I'm like, ooh, I'm not going to eat like a million of them. I'm just going to have a couple. I'm going to bounce back. And then on Sunday morning or whatever morning, you wake up and it's like, okay, that was good. And then it's not going to be that repetition of maybe I should get some French fries today.
Well, do you know how boring it would be if your birthday was every day?
Yeah.
It's once a year because it's special.
Yep.
And if you're gonna eat and do and party and do things once in a while, enjoy it.
Yes.
You don't have to live boring your entire life, but it needs to be the majority of your life.
Yep.
And boring as far as your nutrition and your
exactly.
Yep.
And we've talked about it before too. It's just, but don't go out, and if you're not somebody that can bounce back, like if you can have a bite of something and that's just going to help your Saturday night get a little bit better, mm-hmm. and you can move on from it. Let me back up. If you have achieved what you've been looking for and you're like, hey, I can have a bite of that and I can move on, do it. If you still don't think you're strong enough to have a bite and that's going to start you in your cycle of crazy eating, don't do it.
Resolve is built over time.
Yep.
You can be stubborn. Stubborn's not the same as resolve. Mm-hmm. Resolve is, I have such a history under my belt of making the right choices that I'm not willing. It's almost like AA for food.
Yeah.
I have so many days behind me of holding the line that when I do give it up, it's going to be worth it. And then I know the next day I'm going to step right off.
Definitely.
This goes into my wacky, I freeze cookies, because my whole thing is if I have a pack of cookies in the cupboard, I'm going to destroy them. So I actually will put cookies in the freezer and I just snap off a piece, like a fourth maybe.
Exactly.
And I eat it with my coffee, and it is phenomenal.
Yes.
That's how I get over the urge, because I know that I can have them in the house. And when I get into them, it's that, middle of the afternoon, the decaf coffee with a snap of my cookie, and I'm good to go. It's boring as hell.
Yeah, but it's what works for you, and it doesn't take you back to thinking about, driving in the car with your jeans cutting into your waist. It's like, this is something that's worked for me. You get your, you're such a cookie monster, but you get your cookie, fix, so to speak, and you can move on from it.
And I'll look forward to tomorrow's.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's, because recently on vacation, and the reason vacation goes so off the rails for me is because I'm not in my routine anymore.
No.
I don't take the food scale. I don't track. I don't log. I don't do anything, because I know that when I go out there, it's like, I don't want my mind to be consumed with my day-to-day. So vacations are tricky.
Right.
Which is why you're out of your routine.
Yep.
Humans need routine. Without that, we're in every aspect of our life. You come home at the same time you get from work. You do the same thing when you get home. You go to bed at the same time. You wake up at the same time. Those things are how we master our lives. And then you get into the rhythm and the routine of, I wake up on my own every day at the same time. I get hungry at the same time every day. The times I'm not on my routine, it's look out. I mean, it's Frank the Tank. I mean, I'll go out and I'll do whatever the heck I want to. But when I come back, that routine is my comfort.
Yes.
And it's we shop the same, we cook the same. And that's why in those moments, I can hold the line. And it helps me overcome those instances where I don't.
Right.
But you can't live flip-flop where you live the way you want to and you only hold the line intermittently.
Yep.
Like in the same times that I would cut loose is the only time you would hold the line.
Absolutely.
So small little 2% pockets throughout the year, you're like, okay, it's time to be good. Then you go right back to being silly.
Right.
I'd be sitting in that car with no AC, with my pants cutting into me and just hating life.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so tips for being boring. So in addition to their safe food lists, Shapeshift, we'll touch just a little bit on that. I want to finish with a little bit just to kind of give a little teaser on what that is. Now, there are foods that your body is awesome with. They don't push back on you. They don't give you headaches. They don't make you sleep bad. They don't give you bloat. They don't give you digestion issues. Now, there's tests that you can take. There's the mediated release test. That's the one we use the most. It's a blood test that'll tell you the lowest inflammatory response foods. And it's not IgH inflammatory. It's just your immune system doesn't respond to these.
Right.
They're the lowest immune system response foods. If you stay in that zone, your body will be consistent. Consistent energy, consistent brain power, digestion. Everything's normal. When you start to creep up that list of food that has immune responses, you start getting out of whack. You have weird cravings. Your menses can be thrown up out of whack. Your sleep can be thrown out of whack. And as soon as something turns, the dial turns 1 degree, you're off your routine.
Yep.
So you have to stay in the safe zone.
Yep.
Don't bring home things. And I hear you parents, your kids can eat good too. So don't bring home crap for your kids saying it's for them, knowing damn well you get in it.
You can't even help yourself.
You know you do. This is a hot button. Unless you have a padlock and the kids are the ones with the key, don't lie. If you got a cabinet at the house and only the kids have the key to it, I believe you. If it's
That's actually a very good idea.
If it's in the pantry, don't even pretend you don't eat it. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to your coach. We both see you. We saw you. We saw you do it actually. But if you bring things home that are out of whack, if you live life 2 degrees off your center, you're always going to struggle.
I agree. And I think sometimes we sound like we're kooks, but it's like we don't bring that stuff home. Like we honestly don't. It's like if we do, I know that if I bring home a bag of Chips Ahoy or something, you and I are going to open it. We're going to open it and we're going to eat through the first row.
Lord help me.
And then later we're going to eat through the second row. So I never would do it. You know, we have mentioned it a billion times. On your birthday, instead of making you a pumpkin pie, I skip the crust and I make some twisted little pumpkin cupcake weird things, but it gets the taste out of it because I won't set you up that way.
I've eaten the whole pie myself.
Exactly.
I've done it before.
I won't do it.
So there's something else as we get older, and I'm starting to see other fit professionals and other people that we know, because now I've got friends that are in their 50s. When you eat right and you're eating the way your body is the happiest, your skin looks better, your hair looks better, you look younger. Okay, so it's, if for anything, as if the blood work wasn't important enough, if you don't want to look like a 50-year-old catcher's mitt, you know, treat your body the way it's supposed to.
Exactly.
And if you have this conversation with your family, just make it a game. Just say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do, guys. For the next 60 days, every Friday for dinner, we're going to have a dessert. You can have whatever you want.
Yep.
That's your one thing. And it's not a freaking pie. All right. So it's a serving size of something. But you teach the family that there's a reward at the end of the week that results in a treat, something that you can enjoy together.
Exactly.
The rest of the time, the other 99% of everything you eat that week is good for you, works for you, fuels you. And your body responds in kind by losing weight, sleeping good, looking better, get healthier, your blood numbers get right. So if you can turn it into something that's a positive and not a body image, if you go to your kids and say, hey, we all need to lose weight, that's not going to work. You know, you're going to create dysfunctional kids.
Yep. And two, make sure that the Friday night, it's not a dessert reward because you ate well. That doesn't really make any sense. But it could be that, you know, you got to, all of you decided that you're going to go to bed at, you know, we'll say 9:30, that you all got to bed on time, or everybody woke up with their alarm, or everybody packed their lunch, you know, just yeah, exactly.
Imagine if you could put it to where everyone did 10,000 steps in a day.
Exactly.
If everyone hits 10,000 steps, 4 out of the next 5 days, then we're going to go out and get Cold Stone.
Oh, yum.
Whatever.
You're killing me today.
But you got to be active. You got to be active and be consistent, and then do everything you do, the boring. And then the benefit is have something you can celebrate, but you nailed it. Don't turn it into, I'm only doing my steps, Mom, so I can get ice cream.
Exactly.
You're perverting it. Don't do that.
No. And if it turns into that, then you know what? It could be that you guys, we're going to pray every morning at breakfast or something. And if we do breakfast, lunch, or we can't do lunch, but breakfast and dinner together, we're going to pray before we eat. And then on Friday, we're going to celebrate that we did that together as a family. So something that's just not the reward of food because of food, or with, you know, like I don't.
It gets goofy.
Yeah.
Okay. This was a very preachy show, and I don't care. The idea is, I want nothing more than for you to be successful.
Yeah.
And I want people to come up to you and say, you guys are boring as hell. You know,
we really are.
It doesn't cut it just to drink Michelob Ultras on the weekend, and your lifestyle's garbage.
Who drink that anyway?
People that are trying to find that little edge to make up for when they're bad.
People.
It's not.
Save your carbs for a real beer.
That's right. It's not good.
No, but I think
bashing
exactly, we're going to get in trouble for that one. But it's just, you know, I feel like I always say the same thing anytime we have a conversation. Don't say that you want to be a certain weight, or you want to live a healthier lifestyle if you don't. If you don't really want it, it's why you keep falling off the wagon. So be honest with yourself. I had an awesome experience on vacation, falling off the wagon completely, coming back and being like, oh my gosh.
Over and over again.
Like I'm still talking about it, but it was an awesome experience for me because I did realize, no kidding, I'm traveling with the food scale when we go on vacation next time. I honestly am, because for myself, I finally got to a position that I hope you all will get to if you really want it. And that is, you find a body where you are standing in front of the mirror and you are very proud of what you accomplished. Could you make some tweaks? Of course. And then you backslide, and my backslide wasn't extreme, but for myself it was. I backslid. I started not feeling well. I was like, oh, yuck. I was looking really good when I looked in the mirror, and now it's like, oh man, I didn't have that. Now it's back. So
you still look good, don't?
Thank you.
It doesn't take much to, I mean, we see it, but
thank you. We do, but just be honest.
Yeah, don't do it for somebody else.
No. Oh my gosh,
If you're coerced or your spouse is, and we did this a long time ago.
Yeah.
I never, we didn't do this to each other.
No.
Where it was like, hey, maybe you should think about losing some weight.
No.
We've never did that. So
No.
you have to come to that decision on your own, and then we support you. We support each other. It's like, I'll support you, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Oh yeah.
And together as one, we muddle through either each other's goals or the individual's goals.
Exactly.
But it's a healthy way to do it.
It is.
Your person has to be ready for it.
Yes. And if you're doing this on your own, then find a program where you actually get the support. If you don't have somebody at home, then you just need a group of people. And they can't be people that are, it doesn't matter if you fall off on the weekend. It needs to be people that just constantly remind you of what your goals are.
It's perfect. They inspire you.
Exactly.
Compassionately, not
Right.
go get your together.
Exactly.
Okay, so I had mentioned it. We're going to just talk a little bit about Shapeshift. So our new program, it's a spin on our old Shred. If you know us, then you know that we used to run a pretty monster 6-week program. It yielded great results. The downside of that program was at the end, it was supposed to be when the pools opened up. We always like to time it with Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
And when the pools opened up, it just turned into chaos because people, it's like they've been living with a gag in their mouth for the last 6 weeks because they just go crazy.
Yep.
But it was looked at as a diet.
Yes.
And now the word challenge has been removed. We're not calling it a challenge anymore. It's a transition in the lifestyle. So Shapeshift is a lifestyle program.
Right.
We're going to help you get your body in the right, what's the word?
It's basically it's a healing.
Give your body a chance to heal. Then we go into the actual 6-week program. Then we have another section that rolls you off into a maintenance mode.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
The maintenance piece still has checks and balances.
Of course it
you
does.
still have limitations and caps. You still have accountability systems. But the goal is anyone that wants to live a boring life with us, we found a path for you to do it and have people that will encourage you to do that.
Yeah.
And if you can pull off 1 year of our program, you will never go back to being heavy again.
No.
Unless you decide to be fit to fat or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you have to choose to do it.
Exactly.
But after a year, your resolve will be rock steady.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have to deal with the ups and downs of this kind of monotonous, terrible way of living.
Yep.
Where you're always tugging on your clothes and
it's the worst.
Blech.
I'm telling you, the experience that I've had where, I'm going out, I'm helping girlfriends or family members find like a dress to wear to something. And the first thing that they say is, well, this will be great as soon as I put my Spanx on. I'm not dogging Spanx. Spanx, you guys are amazing, I'm sure. I can't handle it. And it's like, wait a minute, but
yeah.
come on. Like, I don't want, if I could get every woman in the entire world to never have to put on a pair of control top pantyhose again, I would. Unless it's a choice, but not to hide something.
Agreed.
They can put on their dress and go.
Perfect. Last thought. One, if you want to check out Shapeshift, at shapeshift.us. But two, what you just said about the control top. If you are content with your body image, awesome.
Yes.
Nobody's telling you to look a different way.
No.
Nobody's telling you to be anything that you don't want to be.
Nope.
But if you come to us and you have a struggle and a tear in your eye, I'm going to be hard on you because I want you to get there.
Yep.
But I don't believe in body shaming and I don't believe in pushing somebody into places they don't want to go.
No,
So hopefully
exactly.
that doesn't come off that way. That's our goal. It's not.
No, it's not at all. If you are happy in your own skin, in your own skin, if you're happy in your own skin, we're happy for you.
Great. More than happy. Just be healthy.
Exactly.
Perfect. All right, my lady.
All right.
Beautiful. Check out our site, guys. I think it's closed right now, but the pre-launch list is open, so we're going to run another beta here pretty soon. We've been getting some great feedback. It's exciting to me because these are people that we've known for a long time that already know us, but it's still encouraging when new people pop up and I don't know who they are, and they're like, "Hey, you guys, this hit a spot today." So
I'm so excited.
it's working,
Yeah.
and you guys are a part of it, and we appreciate you and we love you.
excited.
Things that help us grow. You're sharing, subscribe.
Yes.
So subscribe's the next thing, because sharing is great, but we have almost 4 times the number of people downloading as the number of that are subscribed, which means you click on a share, which is cool. It's totally great. But if you subscribe, it'll actually go to your account automatically.
Right.
And that way you'll not miss out on any of the goods. Okay. So share it, like us, give us some feedback. If we suck, tell me we suck. If we're good, we want to hear it, because it keeps us motivated to keep giving you guys content.
Yeah.
All right. Brilliant.
You want to go make some boring food?
I don't want it. I really don't want any. I want something fun. I'm tired of beef jerky. All right, guys. We'll talk to you on the next one.
All right.
All right. Stay true.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Beyond the Dumbbells Show. We know you have thousands of options for content and entertainment. We appreciate you spending time with us. If you enjoyed our show, please share our web address, www.beyondthedumbbells.com, and maybe drop us a review. Until next time, live beyond.